haven't seen you in a while.
I know.
Good to see you.
We need to play more 1 o'clock games so you're not sleeping, huh?
No, I'm not quitting you, Coach.
No, not sleeping, I said.
Huh?
I said 1 o'clock games in the afternoon, you're not sleeping.
Hey, you're going 3 in a row, Coach.
I know.
Hey, I would like to ask you a question.
I'll try to give you an answer if you ask me one.
Coach, you've won 3 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that for the first time since 2007, had a 3-figure performance. 2 others, 196 and 188 today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you also shot almost 3 games in a row, 500%. So, to me, that seems like an improvement in both areas. 3 such shooting performances, 3 such scoring performances. It reminds me of covering Jerry West and Hot Rod Hundley.
Well, thank
And
God.
some of those other guys, and even Bob Huggins.
Well, thank God.
Now, to what do you attribute those improvements in your current team, or compared to last year, maybe also the 2 years ago? To what do you attribute those attributes?
We have more guys who can
besides
make
good coaching?
We have more guys who can make shots.
I didn't hear it.
We have more guys who can make shots.
Thank you.
It's really pretty simple. You look like a good offensive coach when the ball goes in. When it doesn't go in, you don't look so good.
And I have a follow-up.
Okay.
It seems to me that your rebounding isn't as good as it has been in the past.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Do you foresee improvement in that area?
Well, we're trying. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Take some time.
Coach, we saw some zone tonight. What did you make of that zone defense, and how do you think that'll help for the next couple games, maybe?
No, we were a little kind of lethargic, and so we tried to play a little bit of half-court trap and stuff just to kind of get going, make them play a little faster. I thought we're going to work on that. We might as well throw a little 1-3-1 out there and try to work on that a little bit. I told him coming in, this game was about us working on us getting better. So that was kind of the focus of the couple of days that we had to get ready, was more we wanted to do some things to make us better.
Did you accomplish it?
I don't know. We got to work on some things, which was good. I kind of like this, Bob. Actually, I think, I don't know why I'm playing Purdue and Gonzaga and all them other people. I kind of like this. Really, it's going to a little more relaxing. So I got Aaron Harris out there drawing up plays, and I'm starting to think I wasn't needed much.
I want your paycheck next.
Yeah.
Does the value in that come more in that they can do it in a game situation, or having it on video so that you can review and teach from it?
Well, I think both. We don't understand the rotations that we have to make, and honestly we haven't spent very little time playing 1-3-1. This may be a better half-court trapping team than a 1-3-1 team. So just kind of, we're going to keep throwing it out there a little bit, and if nothing else, it makes people spend a little bit more time preparing for us, not as much time preparing themselves.
Because of the rules, will you play more zone, you think, anticipate this year?
than most years?
I don't know. Every crew's different. That's the problem. You know, it's not. It hasn't been. It hasn't been officiated as consistently as you would hope that it would be. But I said this before. And it's hard on them. I mean, it's hard because it's a pretty drastic change from the way things have been for a long time. So it's hard on them, and they're trying to figure it out like we're trying to figure it out. And you get different interpretations of what foul is. So.
Do you think the emphasis on more fouls was fair, or do you think it was needed?
Well, it's never going to be a non-contact game. It never has been a non-contact game. You can't put 10 guys that big, that strong, that fast in that confined an area and not think that they're not going to bump into each other. I mean, they're going to. It's very much a contact sport. It's going to remain that. You're not going to take that away. I think that I think that the emphasis was trying to score more points. But I mean, there was a game they shot 102 free throws. I don't know if you want to watch that either. If we're doing it for the television audience, I'm not sure that 102 free throws is really what viewers want to see. I mean, it is what it is. We're going to deal with it. It's not going to change. But
Coach, Devin seems to have a personality that just the kind of kid I would just assume you want to coach. What's he like in practice? How has he progressed? Give us some insight on what it's been like working with him so far.
He's been terrific. I mean, I told him 2 weeks ago, I said, I didn't know you had a personality. I mean, actually, there was a long time I didn't think you could speak, because you call him on the phone, it was, yes, sir, yes, sir. And I've known him for a long time. I mean, obviously, being a Cincinnati kid, I've known him for a long time. His personality, I think, he's starting to feel more comfortable, and his personality starting to come out a little bit. He says some stuff sometimes that I mean are really funny, and I'm like today, he wanted to get back in, he wanted to get a double-double. So when he kicked it out of bounds, I said, "What are we doing now? Triple-double." But it's a different. Honestly, it's a different deal. They have a different relationship with others. They certainly have a different relationship with us. We're in there talking about, because we're gonna work out before we go to Pittsburgh to get on the plane, and we're talking about what kind of the schedule is down there and what they need to bring. And Juwan State said, "Listen, everybody understand now this is a business trip. This isn't vacation. This is a business trip." And we haven't had that in a while. And so I think they like each other. They like being around each other. And Devin's a big part of it. I mean, he's got a great personality.
Almost the same question. Remy Demo, European kid, grew up in Europe, played over there. Is there a difference coaching? Is there a difference in a kid like that? Anything you have to get across about whatever?
Yeah, I think there is, Bob. But I think with Remy and really the biggest reason that we took Remy was he played for Rodney Crawford at Mountain State, and Rock played for me, and was Ronnie's assistant. I went from Mountain State to be Ronnie's assistant at Duquesne, and is now with Jeff Neubauer. And we called Jeff, and I called Jeff, and Ronnie called Jeff on Rock's behalf. But Rock was a tough guy. I mean, he was a hard playing, tough guy, and so, you know, and I think he kind of would, in coaching his teams, kind of reference the old, you know, Cincinnati days when I was there, and so Remy heard that. You know, he kind of, I think, more than a normal guy like that would know about what's coming. So I think he was more prepared than, you know what I mean, than just taking a European guy who wasn't as familiar with the way we do things. If that makes any sense.
Bob, one more personality question, if you don't mind. Harris.
What do you guys like hurting for something to write?
Well, we don't have personality.
Well, obviously.
Harris seems like he can talk to pretty much anybody at any position. I don't know if you're kidding or not about him drawing up plays.
No, he and Wani were out there drawing some up. They, you know, variations of, you know, some stuff we were running.
But has he become that type of a person already? Like, you know, I know Juwan, but Juwan's been around a little bit longer and I guess 2 years older, but Harris maybe even had that last year a little bit. Is it just much different, much better this year with his willingness or ability to do that?
Yeah, I don't think Aaron said it, but I think Terry said it. Terry said that they were going to make sure that the new guys coming in weren't kind of treated the way they were treated. Not that they were treated bad. It's just it was kind of indifference. You know what I mean? It was nobody ever literally put their arm around them and said, you know, welcome to the family. And they have, I think, gone out of their way to make sure that happens. And that's not a knock on, you know, the other guys. It's just that's their personality, and that's kind of what they think is important. And I think it is. Corey Blunt's here, who played for me at Cincinnati, played 13 years in the NBA. And I told Tony and Jay, they were, you know, asked me about Corey, and Corey was the godfather of Bearcat basketball. He was the guy. Everybody who came in, Corey made sure that he got to know him, spoke to him, welcomed him, said, you know, here's my number, you know, you need something, call me. And here's a guy who's playing in the NBA. And he was the guy, you know. And I think that's what some of these guys want to be, you know. They want to be they you know, and I think having Day around really helped. And it's just it's a different, you know, kind of deal when you know, you go in the gym and Deshaun's in there and he's working out. You go in and KJ's in there working out, and you know, Joe Alexander comes back and Ruoff's back, and you know, all those guys are now starting to come back, feel comfortable, feel like, you know, this is home. And I think that has a great effect on the new guys coming in. So it's just the whole atmosphere is so much different.
Any advanced scouting on Old Dominion, St. Louis, Wisconsin yet, or is that what the rest of the weekend's going to be for?
I think we got to guard that big 7-foot guy that had 43 the other day, probably. Just off the top of my head. But no, I watched the Presbyterian Old Dominion game, and I've got great respect for Jeff. I think Jeff does a great job of coaching. We played him in the Sweet 16, I think, when he was in Virginia, and I have great respect for him. Great respect for. He's kind of grew up like I did. He's the son of a coach, and he's been around the game his whole life and been in the gym his whole life, and so I've got great respect for him first and foremost. And so I watched that game, so I have an idea. Go watch some more tape tonight, but I have a pretty good idea of kind of a little bit of an idea. I shouldn't say pretty good, a little bit of an idea kind of what they're going to do. I don't know anything about St. Louis at all. Wisconsin, I saw the highlights.